Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, so we're back to getting bombarded with plasma, light, frequency. We had five huge spikes today. Not huge, they were over 30 hertz, but nothing up to 40. But it was enough to knock me out, and I've been tired all day long. It's just really weird. I felt so great yesterday, and I did so much. I got so much accomplished. Now today, it's all I could do to keep my eyes open. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. That's life, isn't it? Okay, so I am going to talk to you guys about love spells today. I don't know. It's something that love is something that people are always wanting in their lives and always looking for. Someone today just told me that all he wants in his life from now on is just sex and focusing on his career because love has hurt him so much. And I pointed out to him that it's not love that hurts you. It's an immature partner who lies, cheats, or is somehow dishonest with you. That's what hurts you. Relationships are hard. Love is easy. You know, it's someone who's immature or someone who's not ready to be in a relationship. That's the person that will hurt you, you know, and that's what hurts you. It's not the love itself. The love itself is beautiful. Love is easy. It's the relationships that are hard. But, you know, when you're young and you don't understand how everything works yet, you know, and this guy's 36. He understands, but he's been burned so much. He's just like, I don't want that anymore. And I could see that. I could relate to that, you know, but I've been burned by guys that lied about loving me and only wanted sex. And then I got burned because when I realized they didn't love me, it's over. So I'm over. I'm over almost all of it. I'm just ready for my twin flame. You know, I'm good in relationships, you know, and I love that. But, you know, it's hard. It's, you know, I don't want to get hurt anymore. So I have done so much research, and I'm going to bring all of my information and research I've done for myself. I'm going to bring it to this forum and to my podcast. And I'm going to talk to you guys about it so that, you know, maybe you could avoid some of the mistakes I've made and what other people have made. You know, when it comes to relationships and love. But sometimes people get desperate, right? And they get really, like, all they can do is just, they're so upset that all they could do is think about love, and they don't have anything else that they focus on because they're just, that's all they want is love, or relationships, right? Or they'll be the victim of unrequited love. And that's always a treasure. That's always a precious gemstone, isn't it? I hate that one so much. When you love someone and you love them with all your heart and they don't even know you freaking exist. That is the worst feeling in the world. Or they know that you love them and they take advantage of you because you do love them and they don't give a crap about you one way or the other. That's the worst, isn't it? That's like kind of like how a narcissist is. It's how a narcissist or a sociopath would show up in the world. You know, how can I exploit how this person feels about me? They got feelings, you know. And so anyway, but a lot of people, they don't realize all of the factors involved in what creates one great love, right? And so they resort to the love spell. There's a right way and there's a wrong way to participate in magic, whether it's, folk art type magic, folk magic, or you're paying someone to cast a spell, or you're doing it yourself. I mean, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And we're going to go over, I have, 1, 2, 3, 4 stories for you. I have 4 stories about love spells. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. After this message, we're going to just jump right in. Hey you, have you ever thought about having your own podcast like me? Was it even a New Year's resolution? For me, it sure was. But as I've been looking into this for months, I was daunted. There's so many questions I had. When I was trying to get this off the ground, I was wondering, how do I record the episode? How do I get it across all the platforms? How do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts when I don't even have an iPhone? How do I get it onto Spotify and all the other places? How do I get people to listen? And how do I make money from my podcast? How do I edit it? Oh my God, I had all these questions and I was so confused until I discovered the simple answer is Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and it is ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. All you need to do is record it. You don't have to go out and look for people to advertise on your show. They help you. So basically what I like about podcasting is I don't have to have a video of myself. You don't know if my hair is dirty or if I'm still in my pajamas or even if I'm wearing makeup. Haha. And it's so easy. I could do this from the comfort of my own home in my living room using this amazing app right from my cell phone. So easy, right? So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money, by the way, doing it, please go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast, and I can't wait to favorite you. Woohoo! Let's be broadcast podcast buddies. I'll see you there. All right, guys, so I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to start by asking some questions and answering them. And then we'll get into some stories, some real life, true stories in which love spells were cast and worked, but with strange results. In most cases. And these are stories you've never heard before, so maybe grab yourself some popcorn, maybe a notebook and pen, possibly. I'm going to also go over what are the types of spells that you can do if you are going to attempt this and tempt fate and attempt this. All right, so love spells. What is a love spell? A love spell is a ritual that you can, as a solitary practitioner, perform. It's folk magic or just magic. You could also do this if you're part of a coven, or, you don't have to be a religious Wiccan style witch. You could be just, regular solitary practitioner. Can anyone do a love spell that is not a witch? Of course, absolutely. But there is one caveat. There's an old Wiccan read that states, "And it harm none. Do what thou will. Do what you will, as long as it harms nobody," basically. And ironically, that's the same of the Satanic Church. That was Anton LaVey's thing. If you're going to be a Satanist, do whatever you want, just don't harm anybody. So a lot of idiots in the world have decided to be Satanists and decided to go out harming people, which is so stupid because they don't even know what Satanism is. It's just pure freedom to do whatever the hell you want without the confines of any kind of actual religion, telling you that you're wrong and dirty and bad and born with sin. And, I don't know. It's like I was terrified of Satanism my whole life until I actually, on a dare, read the Church of Satan website. And I'm like, oh, well, this is just super mild and super normal and whatever. Anyway. But what I'm about to tell you has nothing to do with Satanism. You don't have to sell your firstborn child, and you don't have to give your soul to the devil, because none of that stuff is real anyway. It's just a bunch of egoic bullcrap. But what is a love spell? Love spell is a ritual that you perform for the purpose of obtaining the object of your affection or desires. There's also sex spells and there's lust spells, but I'm talking about love spells. Like, can you truly make someone love you? To that end, I answer, absolutely freaking not. But if you ask me, can a love spell bring someone into my life? Absolutely, yes, it can. You're not always going to like the consequences of it, though. Because when you take away another human being's sovereignty and free will, that becomes a problem. Depends on how powerful you are as a folk magician. Are you a good witch? Are you very good? Are you a good wizard? Or warlock? How powerful are you? How strong is your mind? How able, you can do some intense things with magic if you put your mind to it and you're very, very concentrated, heavily concentrated. So I don't know, at the end of this, are you going to want to do your own love spell? Sure you will, but only if you do it right. And we're going to discuss that, what's right and what's not right. What takes away the free will of another and what leaves free will of another intact, but just opens a gateway or a doorway for something to possibly occur. So we're going to go over that. There's a lot. A lot to think about. There are caveats. Karma is a huge caveat. So, are love spells worth it? I think that yes, if you do it right. If you do it in the correct way in which you're not going to overrule the mental health or thinking processes of another human being. And if you say the correct words and use the correct intention, sure. Do love spells get results? Yes, they do. But it depends on how strong you are, how strong your mind is, and how much you concentrated while you did the actual ritual itself. I mean, like if you were watching your favorite soap opera and your best friend called you on the phone while you're waving a wand over something, that's not going to work. If it's like 4 p.m. and the kids are screaming and the cat and the dog are chasing each other around and you're completely distracted, you're not going to do very good at your ritual work or spell work. But if you're alone and you have meditated and you've surrounded yourself with the white light circle of protection and you are pure in your intention and in your heart, and you can concentrate very well, and you're all alone, and if you have any music at all, it's music that is for the purpose of this. The TV is off, no one's around. Yeah, then absolutely, you're probably going to do a pretty strong spell if you're able to concentrate and keep your mind on the matter at hand completely. So what are the types of spells that one can perform? What are the types of rituals that you can do to draw to you your love? All right, so there's all kinds of stuff. I'm going to give you a few examples, but that's not by any stretch of the imagination an exhaustive list. So you could do mirror magic or scrying. Scrying is when you have like a black bowl and it's filled with water and you use a candle off to the side where there's no reflection in the water. You can also use like a crystal ball for the same reason. You stare into it. And a good love ritual for this is to just say, divine, please show me, or universe, or God, goddess, whatever you want to say. I always say divine or God. Please show me what I need to see regarding my next love. I don't say, bring me, Billy Joe Jim Bob from down the street into my life by Tuesday. Because that interferes with the karma of yourself. Because you're controlling another human being and it interferes with their free will, and that's wrong. That's wrong if you do have a sense of moral values at all. You will not add someone's actual name. There's one way in which you can do that, but we're going to go over that in a little bit. But you don't ever want to interfere with somebody else's free will, like ever. All right. So you can use a mirror and don't have your own reflection in it. Just, look at it and ask to see the love of your life. Ask to see your next boyfriend or your next girlfriend or your one true love or your twin flame or your soulmate, your next soulmate that's going to be coming into your life. Who should you look out for, And I don't know. I mean, I've tried a crystal ball a couple times, not for this, not for love, but for just other things, just asking about my career or future or whatever. And I was asking about one thing. I think, what should I be doing in Peru? And I had a little tiny, I call my traveling crystal ball that my youngest son bought me because he thought it was cool looking, and it's so cool. I love it. And I've never used one before in my life. And it took me like 3 or 4 hours before I ever saw anything. And I finally saw one thing, and I saw a black raven fly across the crystal ball. It was one of the coolest things in the whole world. I was like, what the hell? That was so cool. What does it mean? I have no freaking idea. So I don't know. It might be something I do for fun, just trying out, but it's never really worked out for me as far as that. Now, if I ask God to give me a sign in the real world, then I go and I leave the house, and I'll see billboards with the same name over and over again, or I'll meet people with the same name over and over again, or animals will answer my questions by crossing my path in a specific way. And we'll go over that actually on another day, because that's super interesting. That kind of magic is when you're tied into the planet and God and the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom, and you ask. The answers come really rapid, and it's incredible. But I don't know. I've never had good luck with the whole scrying or mirror rituals, but some people, you know what? It's immediate for some people, and it works for a lot of people. So that might be your style. That might be your way to go. You could do a candle ritual in which if you want a pure, true love, you can light a pink candle, which will be innocent and pure love mixed with amazing sexual chemistry, combining the two. And also red is for health. So health of the relationship. If you want a love relationship. If you just want sex, it's a red candle. If you want a pure, innocent, joy-filled love in which you both are celibate, that's a white candle. But anyway, whatever candle you do pick, and you could do more than one. You could do 3 or 4 candles, many different colors. You want to add in an intellectual, someone who's intellectually stimulating, do a yellow candle. You always have plenty to talk about. You want to do art and creativity together, do an orange candle. Orange is good for creativity. You want to make money together, have a business with your future love, do a green candle. Mix that in, You do everything, anything, and you have to tailor make anything you do for yourself. That you give it more meaning when you do that, and it adds more power. So, for me, if I was going to use a candle ritual, I would probably do a pink candle or a white and a red one. Since I'm looking for my twin flame, if I were to do that for a twin flame, I would do 2 white candles, or 2 pink candles. And I would just focus on imagining that person's with me and he is holding my hand and looking into my eyes and saying, I love you, I respect you, all the things that I'd want a man to say, right? So I'm not going to do this, though, for my twin, because twin flame relationships are very special, and you have to both be absolutely ready spiritually for it. And you can't force someone to be ready. When you force someone to put on their shoes and coat and get out the door in 10 minutes by threatening not to go to dinner, I'm just kidding. Or something you could force someone to do, like something like that, but you can't force someone's other, internal readiness. See, so that's another problem with love spells. You cannot force another human being's internal readiness to be in love with you, or be in a relationship with you, or even know you at all. Someone has to be ready. For me, all of my people I've been with in my life, it's all been soulmates, people I knew and had a spiritual connection with, people I knew from other lifetimes. Except for my near twin, which was awesome. Being with my near twin flame was awesome, because we had 0 karma together, and we understood each other. We were intellectually connected and spiritually connected, but not karmically tied. So it was fabulous. It was like, there was no just junk that needed to be cleared out between us. It was just pure friendship and pure love. And I'm hoping that I find that with my twin flame, not my near, but my actual twin flame. That's what I'm looking for. But you might just be looking for love. Maybe you're not a twin and you're looking for your next soulmate. Maybe you're not done with your karma yet. Almost everyone on earth is done with their karma. Almost. We're like at the very end of it. The next 5 to 10 years, you'll be completely done with your karma if you're extremely slow. This is the end of the schematic, people. Chop, chop. Clear that karma out. But you might have some soulmates you just wanted to hook up with and hang out with and maybe have a relationship with. Walk through the gates of heaven with, as my friend Helen used to say. She'd say that to me all the time. I just want a man I could walk through the gates of heaven with, together, hand in hand, absolutely in love. Is that too much to ask the universe? It was hilarious to me when she would say that, because, most women are like, I just want a man to marry and be faithful to me to have kids with. You know what I mean? It's like normal, mundane stuff. Hers was like, I want to walk through the gates of heaven holding hands. I loved it. It was like one of the most beautiful images ever, but it always made me laugh because I was just like, oh my God. And then even when she asked, is that too much to ask? It was hilarious to me. Like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't think it's too much. Nothing is too much to ask. We are all gods and goddesses in the making. So why not? So I came up with an idea for a really simple love spell that would tell you, if you have, say you have the name of 5 or 6 different men that you're equally interested in, or women, I could say women, and you write their names on autumn leaves. You have to wait for the fall. You write their names on autumn leaves with like a little Sharpie marker, and you turn the leaves over, you mix them up and you turn them over, and you don't know what leaf is what woman or what name. And, you have to draw a circle of protection around you. And you could even get a little rope or a string and make a circle and put the leaves in the circle and just ask. Ask God to tell you which one should you be pursuing right now. Instead of trying to control the other person coming to you, ask which one you should go for. And then just pray about it and wait for a big breeze to come up. And if all of the leaves blow outside the circle, then none of them. There's somebody else around the corner for you. But if at the end there's only 2 or 3 left, now try it again and keep going until there's only 1 left in that circle. And that'll be the one you should pursue. That's kind of a fun one, huh? Another way to do that is with the pendulum. And I've done this with other questions. You write down 6 answers on identical pieces of paper, and you fold them up and you mix them up, throw them up in the air and let them land. Then you line them up and you say, is the answer to this question yes or no? Is the answer to this question yes or no? And you write down all the answers, and then you open it up to see what the question was. You can do that with people's names too. Why not? I know that apples are a way to bring your love to you. There's a lot of apple spells. You can look it up online. And there are even apps with love spells. Apples are sacred to the goddess Diana and Aphrodite. They're the same. Diana is the Roman name, Aphrodite, of course, being the Greek version of the same goddess of love. So if you just have to do an apple. Do an apple spell and invoke goddess of love to come and bring you your romantic partner. You could call upon your romance angels, or maybe we only have 1 or 2, I don't know. Maybe you have 10. I probably have an army of romance angels, and they're not doing their job, darn it. But we all have a romance angel. Ask your romance angel to help you. That's another one. Just sweet, simple angel magic. Light a white candle, circle of protection. Ask your holy guardian angel and your higher self to be with you. Connect with your spiritual team and your higher self and your 8th chakra, and your 3rd eye. And you could connect everything and just keep your eyes closed and ask them to bring you your next love. how I found my twin is I asked God every night for 5 nights in a row. I asked him for weeks. Finally, I started having a vision. I had the same exact vision of him 5 nights in a row. I met him 5 months later. And I didn't say, bring that person to me. I said, who will be my next love? I want to see his face so that I recognize him and I don't waste time on the wrong person. So there's other ways. There's the love spells that you can do that isn't about controlling another person. You can ask to be shown in a dream who your love is. That also can be tied in with the apple magic as well. And there's charms or knot charms. You tie 7 knots and concentrate very hard on a string while you're tying the knots. And that power is contained within that rope or that string. And when you untie it, you're unleashing that power. So you do it 7 times in a piece of string or rope. And then every time you unleash that power, you have 7 chances. That's kind of fun, huh? It's kind of strange and ancient. I love that one. So, the love spells work, but are they real? Is the love real? I don't know. I can't tell you. I mean, I'd love to say, yes, it's definitely real. But you know what? I'm going to give you some stories right now. You're going to decide for yourself whether it was real or not. Is it real? Or is it just controlling another person? Depends on what you do and how you do it, what you say. So let's see. My first story for you guys tonight is Dawn and Bridget. Back in 1987, when I was with that spiritual group, my friend Dawn, who was running it, was madly in love, or he thought it might have been madly in lust, with an extremely beautiful woman. Really beautiful. Like, she came over during our group because she forgot, and she said hi to everybody, and then she left. And when she left, everyone was like, oh my God, men and women, even the gay men in the group, we were like, wow, she is, wow. I mean, whew. I mean, she was absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful, physically beautiful women. With the sexuality of Marilyn Monroe, you know, that heavy duty, wow, power. She had the it factor. She could have been an actress, right? But unfortunately, you know, not really the sharpest tool in the shed. She wasn't the brightest crayon in the box. I won't say dumb as a rock, but approaching. She wasn't dumb, but she was extremely shallow. And he couldn't see it. He was so in love with her. So in love with her. I think it was a lust thing, but I don't know. It's not for me to say. I think he really loved her. And they were together for years. He was getting ready to propose, and he caught her cheating on him. And he was brokenhearted. And he just, like, broke up with her immediately. Like, ugh, how could you do that to me? Ugh, I was going to marry you. I wanted you to be the mother of my kids. Like, ugh, it was so yucky, you know? And a couple months went by, and he pined away for her, just so sad. And then he saw her with another man, and that was the end. He was just like, I have to get her back. And he started calling her, and she would either tell him straight up, no, forget it, or she would just say, no, I'm not interested, or she would stop answering his calls. Most of the time, she didn't ever answer her phone. This is before people had cell phones. It was just, you know, ringing her house, but he knew her schedule. It was like kind of stalkerish, but they'd been together for 3 years, so that's why he would know what she does with her life. But anyway, something he did, and he called the group together, and he said, you guys, I am the biggest frickin' idiot on the planet. I'm so desperate to get her back, to win her love back, to get her in my life again, that he had gone like to Florida. Or I think he had a magazine that had an ad from a guy from Florida, right? Miami, I think he was from. He said, I found an ad in this magazine, in this spiritual magazine, but then here's this really weird ad. And he showed us the ad, and it was like really compelling to look at the ad. I think there was a spell cast over the ad to draw people in. It was really a compelling ad, and it said, Christopher Powers has ultimate power, and he will use his power to get anything you want, results guaranteed, or your money back. And his spells were like $500. And my friend did it. He freaking Western Union this guy $500 to get his Bridget back. And then he said, I am the biggest freaking idiot, right? And we're like, well, let us know how it goes. So like a week or something later, we get back together with him, and he says, okay, so the spell's cast, we'll see what's going to happen this next week, right? Within 48 hours, Bridget was at his door with a giant basket full of fruit and nuts and candy and like, I think it was like a coffee mug. I mean, this huge basket for Christmas. And it was like covered, or no, maybe it was Easter, because it was after, it was the New Year. But it was wrapped in cellophane, and it had bows and ribbons on it, and it had a big card on it. And she said, my mom was making these for people, for her church, for the church ladies' social event, whatever. And she had an extra one, and I thought I'd bring it to you. Damn, that was $500 well spent, right? So it got her in the door, and they started talking, and she dumped her other guy immediately, and they ended up together again. But every single day he was thinking, is this love real? Is this Christopher Powers love that he's forcing on her? What did he do? What was the spell? What did he cast? What happened? Like, he was so scared. He was so upset. Like, what did I do? What did I do? I didn't ask for love in general. I asked for her specifically. Now I feel like I controlled her, and she's acting different than she ever did before, and she might be controlled. And I don't know if I did it. And I'm happy, but now I'm kind of like not happy, because I don't know if she's here because she loves me, or if she's here because she's under a spell that she's unaware of. So he decided that maybe she did love him, and he kind of convinced himself, and he said, I know I'm convincing myself. He even said that to the group. So we watched this saga unfold over like a couple months' time, and he was getting ready to ask her to marry him. He had the ring in a box, like in his hand or under the table. It was like hidden somehow, and she couldn't see it. And he got down on one knee, and she ignored that, like she was unaware that was happening. And he said all these beautiful, lovely words from his heart, because he felt this way about her. And I don't know if you guys remember the poster, Avoid the Noid. For Domino's Pizza, you have to look up these commercials if you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Avoid the Noid, N-O-I-D. It was this really stupid character, and my friend, as kind of a joke, put up a poster in a frame like it was art, and it said Avoid the Noid, because he got this poster for free. It was like a special they were running from Domino's Pizza, so he put in a frame as a joke and put it up on his wall. I mean, we were all in college. It was just a funny thing. But he was going to propose to her, and She started looking around the room like nothing's actually happening. And she points to the poster and she goes, "Is that new?" And he was just like, yeah. And he put the ring in his pocket and sat back down on the couch like nothing ever happened. And a week later, he got his courage up again to ask her again to marry him. And he was telling her all these lovely things, the same exact speech he had already prepared. And he got on one knee again the same freaking way. He had the ring hidden. It wasn't going to come out until the "will you marry me" part, until he actually popped the question. And she looked over on the table. She started looking around again, like she doesn't know what the hell is happening. And she's looking around and just kind of, and there was like a little carton that was like from Burger King, like from his roommate had left it there. And she goes, "Is that a hamburger? Can I have it? I'm hungry." So once again, he put the ring in his pants pocket and just sat on the couch and thought, yeah, you know, this was a big fat mistake. I never should have paid $500. I wasted my frickin' money for my whole month was wasted. He lived on $600 a month because it was, 1987 in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And he was like, I wasted like almost a whole month's salary. Like, I am such a frickin' lame person. So he was just like, you know what? The next day she came over and he goes, "We need to talk." And he broke up with her. He was just like, whatever. And he told Christopher Powers, he called him and he said, "You know what? Thanks for doing it. You did get her back and you made me see that she was completely like a shallow bimbo that I don't want to be with. She's not my type. I need an intellectual woman. I need someone who's going to be with me mentally, at least in the same book, if not on the same page." And she acted like she didn't know what a book was, It was just like so completely ridiculous. So I didn't see him, like we saw each other for a long time. Then I moved to California and years and years and years go by and he moved to North Dakota. And from North Dakota, he moved to Washington State. And, my boyfriend and I, we were together 6-7 years and we went up to visit him a couple times. And after I broke up with that boyfriend years later, I went up to see a guy in Seattle that I was engaged to be married to. And that was a very short engagement, lasted about 1.5 years or something. And then it was over. But I went up to visit him and I said, I want to go to this restaurant because my friend works there. I want to surprise him because it'd be so freaking cool, right? So I called ahead. I found out his schedule. And for me to show up from California right there in Seattle, that was like crazy. The restaurant was beautiful. It was on the water, and he was making like $100 a night in tips alone, plus his salary minimum, because he was an excellent waiter, which was like hilarious because he had his like master's or his PhD in psychology. So he had a practice on the side during the day, and then he waited at night. But he made a lot more money as a waiter than he ever did as a counselor, even though he had a steady stream of clients. So it was very weird. And he was just like, I'm just going to be a waiter. He's like, God, it's like super easy, practically a brainless job. And, I'm making a lot more money. But it was a really nice restaurant. So I show up and he's like, can I take your, oh my God, it's you, right? And it was like that, oh my God, haha, surprise moment. And so, gave him a big hug and he's like, okay, move over. I have got a freaking story to tell you. And he looked around and he said to one of the other waiters, I'm taking my 15. He sits down with me and he goes, you're not going to freaking believe what happened. So last week, 7 days ago, frickin' Bridget showed up. She showed up here to this restaurant where I work. She did not know I even lived in Washington. Like, when I broke up with her, we never spoke again. I never spoke to anyone in her family, and she never asked about me. She never called my house. So she did not know I was in Washington, let alone Seattle, let alone a waiter in this restaurant. I mean, it had been like 10 years or some insane amount of time. And she still frickin' got back together with him. Christopher Powers' love spell worked to that extent where this woman kept frickin' walking into his life. Accidentally. And so she showed up, get this, with her brand new husband. They were on their frickin' honeymoon. So he got to wait on them while watching them make out with each other because they're all so in love. And okay, so that, my friends, is a love spell gone very, very wrong. But also it worked and it went right because he realized that she was not the right one for him. Of course, you know, he was single at the time and that just really, really chapped his hide. He was so angry. That was like, it was like, really, that had happened like this week. But I guess I made it up to him because, you know, he came and hung out with us for a little bit, and it was, you know, cool to see him. And he was like, thank God, you know, he's like, I haven't seen you in forever. And I really needed a friend and someone that knew the whole Bridget saga, because no one I know here, I will never admit what I did to anybody in my life in Washington, and no one knew. No one knew. So, really, really crazy stuff. Now, a girlfriend of mine had a major crush when she was 19 years old with this guy, and she said, I don't know why I liked this guy, but, you know, looking back, it was weird because he was this really little guy, and my friend's like really tall. And this guy was like half of her height almost, you know, like he was like 5'6", but she's like almost 6 feet, not really half because that'd be insane, but he was not a very big guy, you know, height wise, you know, but she said, but I had the massive crush on him. His hair was like Elvis Presley and he had dark skin and he was just so handsome, and his voice just like sent her through the roof to the moon, you know, every time she heard his voice. And he did not show one iota of interest in her ever, but they saw each other every week, and she was madly in love with him. She was just like, I gotta be with this guy. I gotta be with this guy. I gotta figure this out. And she had gotten a job at the library, and while she was putting a stack of books back, one of the books on the cart was magic. It was like, ooh, this is interesting. And she looked around, the library, no one was looking at her, so she was flipping through the book, and she found immediately the chapter on love spells. So she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this guy fall in love with me. I'm going to make him want me, desire me, want sex with me, fall in love with me, ask me to marry him, the whole 9 yards. I want the whole enchilada with this guy. Well, I don't believe that book had the caveats that I'm telling you, or if it did, she promptly ignored them. She was 19, you know. And so she went home and she did all the rituals, every single one of them. The lust spell, the sex spell, the marriage spell, the love spell. She did them all. She was up all night long. I mean, I think she said at one point she's like sweaty and dancing naked in a circle. Like, I mean, she did every freaking thing the book said to do. She's like, I felt like a moron, but you know, hey, I really wanted this guy and I couldn't stand it. So she saw him during the day, like the next day or 2 days later, and he acted normal, like it was no big deal. It took like about 48 hours for it to kick in. And he called her in the middle of the night. And he said, it was like 3 a.m. And he said, I want you so bad. I can taste it. And I want you in my life and in my bed and in my house. I want you to move in with me and I want you to be my love. And she's like, okay. So she did it. She gathered her stuff and she moved into this guy's really big house. He was wealthy. She didn't know until she got there. She's like, dang, I did good. Ooh. And she was blissfully happy. She was 19. She didn't think maybe he doesn't love me for me. Maybe it's because he's under a spell that I cast, right? She didn't think of it. And they were together for months, like 2 or 3 months. They lived together in like almost like wedded bliss. You know, they weren't married, but it was like looking like it was headed that way. And she was just like, oh my God. She was like, the sex was tremendous. The kisses and the love. And he showered me with affection. He told me every day he loved me. Oh my God. He was just like, oh, he was the one. And then one day he woke up and he shook his head like, what the hell's happening here? Like he woke up from a long frickin' slumber. When the spell wore off. And he looked around and he looked at her and he goes, what are you doing here? Why are you in my bed and why don't you have any clothes on? And she's like, we've been living together for 3 months. You're in love with me. You don't remember what happened last night? And he's like, no, I don't. What the hell? Get the hell out of my house. I never want to talk to you again or see you again. I don't know what you did to me, but you did something. You drugged me or you did something because I don't remember even calling you. And she's like, oh yeah, you called me like 3 a.m. and said you loved me and you wanted me. You don't remember that? And she was absolutely devastated. Completely. Her heart was smashed to smithereens. And she said, you know what? She told me one real late night, we were drinking and studying, and she said, you know what? Don't ever cast a love spell to control another person or try to make a man love you, because you know what? There's no way in hell it will ever be real and it will never work out. She's like, there's other spells you can do that will work, but I mean, what I did was really wrong. And the person who ended up getting hurt was me. All this guy got out of it was 3 months of hot sex. But from my perspective, he broke my frickin' heart. But then what broke her heart more was when the day that she had the dawning realization, he didn't break her heart. He just woke up out of a spell. She broke her own heart. See, the thing is, you can never break the laws of the universe. You can only break yourself against those golden laws of the universe. That's how you get hurt. Breaking yourself up against the laws. And I'm telling you, honestly, if someone wants to sort themselves out of your life, freaking let them. They're doing you a damn favor. Don't ever go chasing for someone who doesn't want you back. Ever, because it's just stupid. It's a waste of your time, and you're going to be the one smashed on the rocks. And they're going to be the one walking down the beach in the sunset. Every time. I guarantee it. If someone wants to walk on out of your life, frickin' open the door for them. Let them go. 100%. Bye. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. You know, like I learned early on too, you don't stay where you're not wanted, because it's just gonna be freaking miserable for everybody. Someone doesn't want you, go on, man. Men are like buses. There's a new one coming along every 5 fucking minutes. I guarantee that too. or women, same thing, men, women, whatever. There's always going to be someone right around the corner for you. Always. Young, old, short, fat, hot, not. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be someone around. There's billions of people on the planet, so there's not just one person suited for you. The decision I'm making for my life right now, where I'm just not really getting involved until I meet my twin flame, I just don't want to accrue new karma, but that's my choice. But right now, down the street, I know a man who wants to be my boyfriend right now. In Colombia, I have a man who wants to be my boyfriend when he gets out of university in a couple years. If we're both still single, it's like one of those things. Well, if we're both still single, and he's a perfect man for me. He's an amazing man. He's not my twin, and I don't want to accrue karma, so I'm kind of like, kind of stuck. But that's my choice. I'm choosing the stuckness. So now the next story is about a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine, who used sex magic that she made up to get a man. The man she wanted was Native American, sexy. Ooh, God, he was a tall drink of water and he was sexy. Oh my God. Long hair down his back. He wore in braids. Oh my God. But anyway, I knew him too. I was like, damn. His personality wasn't my type, but boy, was he hot. He was a hot man. But she wasn't interested in waiting for this guy to screw up enough courage to maybe wonder and think about it, and months and months and months, maybe I'll like her, or maybe I'll ask her out. She wasn't interested in that. She wanted to just kind of cut to the chase. But she knew from, her other experience that I relayed to you already. It's the same person. She's like, well, I don't want to make him love me. And then 3 months later, he wakes up one day and says, get the hell out of my house. I don't need you in my life. Why are you here? So she said, no. I'm going to send him my sexual energy. And I'm not going to, go into graphic detail what that entails. You can use your imagination. But, the highest amount of sexual energy that a person could release into the cosmos. And she played music that he liked, Native American flute music or something, like one of his favorite artists. It was something like that. Maybe it's drumming music. And it was a full moon and the astrology was just right. Everything was just right. And she lit a candle for pure love. So if he was going to truly love her, allow him to be in her life. See, that's a caveat. Like, that's the person I'm sending the energy to. And if he does not want me, it won't happen. If he does want me, then he will have the courage to ask me. See, it was a nice caveat, right? It was a nice sort of way that she worded it. But she just put the energy, she said, I sent the energy to the moon and asked it to be reflected or deflected from the moon down onto him. And then he can decide what to do with the energy, one way or the other. Think about it, flirt with her, call her, ignore her, whatever. He could take that energy and do with it what he wants. And that was a much safer way of doing it, right? So, sure enough, within a week, he came back and he had come into some money, like he got an inheritance or something, or won the lottery or something. Not a lot of money, but, enough. And he said, let's move. And they moved to another state and they lived together for a couple years until the money ran out and he was running out all the time to drink. And that had nothing to do with the love spell. That was just where he ended up for a while. And it ended, but it was a wonderful relationship until it ended, right? It's always wonderful till it ends. And sometimes ending it is wonderful in and of itself, right? Sometimes it's just a grand frickin' relief, right? But she learned her lesson from the first time. So the second time she did it, it did work. But it was, if he wants this, let him know it's available type of energy. And I think as far as love spells are concerned, that was a good one to do. That it worked. It was a good one. So I've given you 2 stories that don't work. One story in which it did work. And for the most part, I mean, it was successful. Maintaining a relationship over 3 months to me is successful, you know. But, I mean, my relationships have always been really long. I'm a serial monogamist, you know, when I'm not celibate. But, yeah, so I think that was a good one. Now, there was a story that I have for you guys. Oh, yeah, by the way, she wasn't sure at the end of that relationship. It ended, but it was really hard to undo once it was undone. He followed her back to California and kept on her for like almost a year. So she was wondering if it wasn't a spell the whole time. That it's possible. It's possible that it might have been. She had to do a ritual to let him, like to unhook him, you know, cut that cord between them so that he could move on with his life. He couldn't move on. He literally moved again to be with her. Like, it was just ridiculous. So it was extremely hard, very hard to undo it. And I don't know if that part was the love spell or it might have just been that he was in love with her and they had formed so many bonds and cords and ties over the course of 2 years together that he had a hard time letting go. And I think that was more of what the case was. But anyway, I do have a story in which I successfully did a 7-knot charm. I've done exactly one in my entire life, and this is the one I'm going to tell you about. I did a 7-knot charm spell. And I'm going to come back in a moment and tell you what I did. All right, so I met my husband of 13 years in hypnotherapy school. We were both married at the time, and I fell madly, passionately, deeply in love with him upon first sight of his old bald head from across the crowded room. So it wasn't like I was all, ooh, baby. It was more like, oh my God, there you are. You're my soulmate. We're meant to be married and have kids. Where the hell have you been? I just freaking got married. That was exactly what I thought within 5 seconds of seeing his head. And it had nothing to do with his head or his physical appearance. It had everything to do with his energy signature, and my heart and my soul knew it. This is the guy I have to have kids with. And then I was like, please be good looking. Please be good looking. I'm shallow. Please be good looking. And he turned to talk to someone behind him. And I'm like, damn it, he's so good looking. Even though he doesn't have hair. Wow, he's got a handsome face. Ooh, he's Irish. Ooh, I love Irish men. So I wanted to talk to him, but I was married. I was a newlywed. This is like a week after my honeymoon when I met him. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't have enough faith, and I didn't wait for my one true love. You know, so there was other karmic stuff, and I did talk to you guys about that on another day. So it was, everything happened the way it was meant to happen. I didn't really screw up, but at the time I thought I had. And walked to me, and at the end of the class, randomly, and it was like incredible. It was like, I heard him and heard his voice, and I turned around and I was like, ah. And inside my head, I was screaming, it's him, it's him, it's him, it's him. Like I couldn't stop saying it. And I was like, he's the guy, He's my one. He's my soulmate. He's my one true love. He's the one. You know, it was just like, oh, I just knew it. And he made my heart and my soul sing. And the husband I had married, he was like my best friend. We were hanging out together, having a good time together. We got married out of love, but I wasn't in love with him. He wasn't my soulmate, you know, wasn't the one I was supposed to marry in my soul contract that I had in heaven. He was just someone I was supposed to marry, and I was supposed to break his heart. Because in a past life, he broke my heart. Because he killed my husband that I ended up marrying in a past life. See, this is why, you know, karma is such a freaking bitch that I don't want to be involved with karma again. This is why. You know, it's just so freaking intricate, and it takes years, hundreds of years to unravel and undo and smooth over and fix. It's a big pain in the butt. But I don't know. I knew this guy. So we ended up sitting together in class, and we're very, you know, we never had an affair or anything, but I was madly in love with him immediately. Like, it was literally love at first sight, but it was more like I remembered, it's you. Of course it's you. You know, I'd only been married to him like at least 6 times in other lifetimes. You know, so we knew each other on the soul level. And my soul is what was responding to that. But we were both married, and it was very painful. And one day in class, we had night class, and he came up to me at the break, and he said, okay, I need to talk to you after class. So don't just leave, you know, come and we'll go sit in my car and have a conversation. So I did. We went into his car and had a conversation. The conversation went like this. So, I think that you're a nice person and you're really intelligent. I love hanging out with you. But it's occurred to me that, you know, maybe we shouldn't really talk anymore. Because I'm finding myself, like, attracted to you. And I'm like, well, I get that. I don't want to break up your marriage. I really don't. No, and I'm married, too. I don't want to break up my marriage. But I do want something from you, though. And he was like, what? The words that came out of my mouth are insane. Why did I say this? I don't know. But I said, I want to have your child. She's going to be blonde, and her name's going to be Alexandria. She's going to have your blue eyes. And I'm all, oh, wait a minute. Before you went bald, you were blonde, right? And he looked at me, and his jaw hit the floor mat. And he's like, how did you know that? How did you know that my hair was blonde? I'm like, I don't know. I just know. Because I know you. You're the one. You're the father. I go, but I don't want to ruin your marriage or mine, and I don't want to have an affair. So can we make an appointment next week to go meet at a hotel, and I'll bring the turkey baster? I literally said that to him. And he looked at me, and he burst into tears, and he said, my wife can never have kids, and I always wanted kids, but I felt like she would never have been a good mother anyway because of her very rough, kind of violent personality. I'm like, oh. I go, well, we could have a safety deposit box. I mean, super freaking elaborate. I was like, you know, how do we do this without breaking up 2 marriages? How do we do this without hurting other people? And I didn't want to be a cheater, and he didn't want to be a cheater. So I'm like, well, we'll turkey baste it at a hotel, and you'll be in the room for a few minutes, then you leave, and then I'll be in the room, and then, you know, we're not going to see each other naked. It'll be easy. Easy peasy. Let's just have a baby. And he just looked at me, and he was just like, are you serious right now? He goes, okay, so this is the thing. I like you a lot, but I think that I never want to see you again. I never want to talk to you again. I think this is it. I'll talk to you in class, and that's it. Because I can't do this anymore. whatever the hell this is, I can't do this anymore. I'm like, fair enough. I know I sound crazy. It's cool. Whatever. All right, I get that. So I left and I got home and I had to drive around the block like 10 times because I was crying so hard. Like some guy I just met 2 months before broke my heart. It was like so insane. So the next day my husband went to work and I did a 7-knot charm. And I had bought, there's a whole nother story about this, but I had bought these Fiji stones from Brazil, but I bought them in Los Angeles, and they were the hands rising up with a hand and a fist, arm rising up with a hand and a fist, and it symbolizes ultimate power. And when I saw them, I was just taken aback, and I bought 4 of them, or 3 of them. No, I bought 3 of them. And then I thought, well, this is cool. I'm going to give this to my friend for his birthday, and I gave mine away. I didn't realize, but I gave mine away. And later on, I realized what the hell I was doing, but that's a whole nother show. But so I had 2 of them, and I had 2 of them left, and I was going through my jewelry box at the time that I had, and I found those. I went, oh my God. And I held them in my hand and I said, oh, well, this one's for my daughter and this one's for him, because he's really and truly the father to my kid. And I knew I wanted 2 kids, but I knew that she had to be born, and she had to be born to us. And she grew up to be my oldest, my 18-year-old son. He's a transgender, my transgender son. So, but he's like one of the most amazing people in the whole wide world. And he's been my best friend throughout many, many, many lifetimes. And in heaven, we're like inseparable. He's like one of my best friends, period. And I just was like, I cannot live in this world without you. You are the reason for everything. Like even the reason I came back for this lifetime. You are the reason. Not for a man, but because you are going to be my child. And I knew it. So back then, I knew I was going to have a little girl. She was going to be named Alexandria, and I did. That's why I named her. And obviously it's not his name now, but I just knew it. I knew it. So I did a 7-knot charm, and every time I put the power into a new knot, I said, okay, give him the courage to tell me he wants to be with me and have a child with me. If it's meant to be, and if it's in his highest good, and if it's in my highest good, if it's for our own spiritual growth and for our own highest good, only allow this to happen. And I tied the first knot, and I put one of the charms on, and then I tied a couple more knots, and I kept saying the same thing again. Only if this is in his highest good, only if this is in my highest good, only if this is in the highest good of all the people involved, will allow this to happen. And I promised God in the universe I was going to wait 7 years for him, not have any other children, and stay married to my husband, but I would wait 7 years for him. And at the end of 7 years, I was going to just untie all the knots and bury the charms in the ground like in a cemetery or something, and just put it to rest. It's dead. The dream is dead. After 7 years. That was what my thing was. And I made it up and made it very personal. But every single time, this is what I did, is let it be his free will choice. Let it be my free will choice. Allow it to happen only if it's in our highest good. But know that I'm not going to have another child for 7 years, because I'm waiting for him. Because I know he's the father. Whether or not we're in a relationship or not, I don't know. But I know he's the father. I know genetically, code-wise, I don't know what it was. I just know I needed to do this with him. So I thought, well, that's it. He said he never wants to talk to me again. at the end of this year, we're going to graduate and it'll be the end. I'm never going to see him again, like ever. And 40 minutes later, when I was done with the 7-knot charm that I did in the morning, it was a morning ritual because my husband was gone. 40 minutes later, he called me and he said, I got home and I got into my house and I walked down to the end of my hallway. And right when I put my hand on my bedroom door, and he said, and I passed my wife's room. They hadn't slept together 9 years. I didn't know that at the time. And so he said, I got down to the end of the hallway. I got to my bedroom and I put my hand on the door and it fell on me. It just like crushed me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Are you okay? He's like, no, I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you and I'm coming for you. I'm going to get you. You are my love. You're my soulmate, my one true love. I'm going to come for you and I'm going to come and get you. And I'm going to come and get you on Friday. So you have until Thursday night to tell your husband, because if you don't, I'm going to tell him for you. Because that's it. We're going to get married. We're going to divorce them first. And then we're going to have sex after we leave them. We're going to do this thing with integrity. We're going to do it right. We're going to get married. We're going to have our children and we're going to live happily ever after. Amen. Well, hell's bells. I didn't have to unravel any of my charms, any of the 7 knots. I didn't have to undo any of the knots. He undid it for me. 40 minutes. It took 40 freaking minutes. But he did it, and we did everything with integrity, just like he said. I mean, we were looking for an apartment, and I'm like, maybe we should kiss to see if we even have sexual chemistry. How weird is this? We never even kissed. We didn't have sex. We didn't do anything. Like, are we stupid? Oh my God. If it's small, I'm going to be pissed. I'm just kidding. He's like, it's not small. Don't worry. I'm off. Man, I don't need it big, but I don't need it small either. Just normal. Normal is good. I'm just kidding. So we ended up married and we were together for a year and then we got married. After 1 year of knowing each other and being together, living together for a year. And we knew we were madly in love after a year, more so than ever. Every day we loved each other more. And we ended up having kids. And we were officially married like 11 years and 4.5 months. Plus the first year and a half we were together before we married. And then the 18 months during the divorce. So like together, all told, we were together about 13 years. So it does work. If you do it right and you say it right, love spells do work. But you got to do it in such a way that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that other person loves you for real and loves you with their own heart. And I said this magical ritual that I did it in a way that would not take away his free will, would not take away his mind, so he would be mindlessly following me. But that he would be completely aware of his faculties. I mean, I said more than what I told you guys, but I went very specific, so that it would only be his choice. I will not pursue him. I will wait for 7 years passively. And I took the dark side of the yin yang and I allowed him to be the pursuer, which is the light side of the yin yang. I was the receptive, feminine, passive part, and I allowed him to be the masculine counterpart to that sacred relationship. And it was a sacred relationship. It was a rocky start. Boy, let me tell you, having to get 2 divorces and oh my God, it was a nightmare. And then his whole family judged the hell out of me, thinking that I'd been seducing him for years and I changed him because suddenly he wore black t-shirts. I mean, they were so ridiculous, I can't even begin to tell you. And even after I told them, we never slept together. We were completely with integrity. if any of those people heard this podcast now, they would say, oh, wow, she might have been telling us the truth since her story never freaking changed. And now it's been God. I met him in 1997. So, it's been 22 years. I met him 22 years ago in April on tax day. April 15th, I met him. I'm really good with dates, so I don't know. Because numbers are interesting to me. So I always remember numbers. So how do you word a spell without taking away another person's sovereignty? Well, I prefer, if you were going to do a love spell, if I was going to give you the advice and I was in the room with you, I would say, listen, don't say anybody's name. Just say, bring me the love of my life. Bring me my one true love. Bring me my soulmate. Bring my twin flame, whatever you're looking for at that moment. Now, twin flame relationships are really hard if you're not ready for them. So don't try to ever force a twin relationship. That's going to happen. Heaven and hell and a pack of wild horses can't stop it. When it's ready, it's ready. When she's ready for you, she will be in your life. When he is ready, it will happen. You're two halves of the same soul that both became separately whole. That's what a twin flame is. You are one soul split in two because of the world of duality. One became positive, one became negative. One became masculine, one became feminine. You're two poles of the same battery, but the battery's been severed in half. It's kind of what it's like, my analogy. But when you get back together, you are perfect in and of yourself, whole, masculine, feminine, holding that energy inside of you, and so are they. But your batteries hook up. It's like your battery comes back together. And you have got that. Now you have two poles. You have a masculine, feminine. They have a feminine and a masculine, and they're going to line up. And you draw each other together, and you are a perfect mirror reflection of each other. So if you get together too early, and one of you is an alcoholic or an addict, the other person will be too, or they will have had that struggle. And you have to help each other through it. But when you're ready and everything is fine and you've gotten together on time, on the correct timeline, then you're. So don't do this for a twin flame unless it's just to purify yourself for your twin to come into your life. For every other love relationship, sure, I recommend doing. If you do it without interfering with another human being's free will, do it. Why not? Test the water. The water might be warm and inviting. Just test it. You never know. So ask the universe to bring you your most perfect match. The universe knows better than you because the universe knows, all 7 billion people on the planet. And you don't. I guarantee you don't know everyone on the planet. Not now, not here, not from this perspective. Not from this dimension, you don't. But the universe does, and the universe can match you. So ask the universe to bring you your most perfect love. And then go ahead and do any kind of magic you want. Look it up. Download an app. Grab a book. Or figure it out on your own. Ask your higher self how to do it. Ask the goddess Aphrodite to be with you. Ask the Hathors to be with you. I've heard they're really good with love spells. I don't know. I've never done it, but why not? Surround yourself with love and light. Raise your vibration to the highest level you possibly can. Meditate. And do a little ritual. And always include a white candle. Love spells are way different than lust or sex. Love is different. So we're talking about love today. Love spells. Because it is February. And, that day just happened. The day. So I just wanted to get that across to you guys. This is a very long episode. So I'm going to quit while I am ahead. I hope that you guys try it. Let me know. Send me a message. anchor.fm/metaphysical. I love each and every one of you. You don't have to cast a spell for me to love you because I love everyone on the planet. So, I am signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.